Life's like a story, and this was like a chapter. It was like a beginning, and then a year later, it would come full circle. It's kind of turning something very sad into something very beautiful.
My earliest memories of playing or kind of like hanging out with my dad, I would ride in the car with him, but I would chip around the green while he and his group were putting out on the green. Probably the single best thing he did for me in my golf game was kind of release me from his instruction. He knew he could only take me so far. My dad was a police officer, certainly was a strong disciplinarian, and was kind of a obey first, ask questions later, and so that definitely fits the mold of the military. Honor, courage, commitment is totally what drew me to it and kind of captivated me as a 17-year-old.
He chose the Naval Academy to serve his country, and he did.
He came in his freshman year, and in his first tournament performance, he birdied the first 3 holes, and he never looked back.
He went on 2 deployments, so when he got out of the Navy, he really sort of had to go back to school mentally and physically to get his game back up to where it needed to be.
Practice, play, get back into it, try and eventually play tournaments. And my dad just encouraged me to keep going.
His dad walked every step of the way with Billy at every tournament.
He was definitely really proud. He probably knew better than me how special it was. I got a text from my mom that asked me if I was playing a practice round and was wondering if I was out at the course. So I told her, no, I'm home. She said, Wallace Mitchell is going to call you. Wallace Mitchell's a family friend of my parents. Wallace called and just told me that my dad had left and no one had heard from him in 8 days. I kind of remember just being like, what do you mean left? Like, what, I was like, well, he literally walked out and got in his truck, and we haven't heard or seen from him since. When he retired from the police force, he kept his gun, as most of the guys do. And I said, does my dad have his gun? He said, yeah, he does.
And right around the same time that his dad disappeared was the tournament, which was almost like a home event for Billy.
That tournament at that course at that time would have meant a lot to my dad. I think that there was part of me during that time that thought, well, maybe he'll show up Thursday for my tea time. Maybe that's when he'll come back. I had a scheduled press conference at the tournament on Tuesday. I kind of pitched it to my family to use that press conference to tell the world that my dad was gone and hopefully get a message out there that he might see. I just want to make a statement. I'm not going to take any questions about this. And I'm really coming to you guys and asking for help.
I've never seen him that emotionally distraught. It probably would have been much easier to say no comment.
Maybe he goes to pjtour.com to check my tee time or to check my score, and sees this and understands that, Dad, we love you and we want you to come home.
Billy knew in his heart that message might get to his dad and his dad might come back.
I intend to play this week in hopes that somehow brings my dad home. Thanks for your support. Friday, I guess about halfway through my round, he was found in a public library in Texarkana, Texas, checking my scores. He's safe, he's alive, he's in Texas. All the articles, all the TV spots that were run, just thank you so much for helping us find my father. So we were hopeful then that he might come home. The thing I knew from growing up as a police officer's kid is that if the department called my house, then it was fine. If the department showed up at my house, then it was really bad. I remember just my wife, Heather, kind of like catching my eye, and I was like, my dad's dead. One of the harder pieces of my dad's death was explaining it to my kids and exactly how to explain it to them and exactly how much to tell them. It doesn't matter how you lose your father or when you lose your father, to have it be sudden and traumatic as unexplained suicide, it's that much more difficult.
I think our character is like a muscle. So what was most impressive was how Billy bounced back from that. I think he was better prepared than anyone could be to weather a very tough situation like that.
It was hard to go on with golf. He even had serious contemplations of retirement. Then sometime in April or May, the game turned around a little bit, started playing a little bit better, and some, good rounds sprinkled in there. If you sent the script to Hollywood, they'd send it back to you laughing. On the 17th green, I turned to Peter Costas and I said, "No one's better than 14 under, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, you're ahead by 3. Going to the last hole, I hit it really good. And so I remember walking over the hill and seeing the ball in the left side of the fairway. And that's when I kind of said, okay, I think I can figure this out from here. It's in the fairway.
Somewhere around the 18th green, Ernie Els, who was paired with Billy, embraced Billy and whispered into his ear, "Your dad's very proud of you."
I think if there was one of the more gratifying shots of my life was that 2.5 footer. It was just knocking that in and hitting a perfect putt right in the middle of the hole to win.
It was crazy. Way beyond your dreams. Whatever you think your dreams are, that was just way beyond them.
It's been a really hard year. So it's nice to have something go well. To win the Quicken Loans National a year after that being the exact tournament that I announced my dad was missing, and I know that he was proud of me.
To know he has all that in the back of his mind and the emotions that must be going throughout all 4 days of the tournament, to be able to put that aside and just play it at the peak of his game, it's just incredible.
God kind of did give us a sign that we were going to keep going.
It's really a moment I'll never forget, I think. Seeing my friend, really persevere, really make his dad proud, make us all proud. It was the ending to a chapter in his life that was just had a beautiful ending.
Up ahead,